I am joined, as I was last week, by not one, but two better. Well, it can't be better halves. Better thirds?
Not could be. Where both of us create a better full of you, you know?
Yes, but then you are each a third. We are all thirds.
Deal. How's that? Math. I like that math, John.
Hi, Andrew Claudio.
Hi, John.
Hi, Jeremy Cohen.
Hi, John.
How are you?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Great. Have you enjoyed the last week of your life?
I have. That went by very quickly. They always do.
It flew.
But it was good. Andrew, how was your vacation?
It was great. And if you're hearing this intro, we didn't have to re-record it because something happened. So everything went swimmingly. And I enjoyed my time away from the internet and turning 34 years old in the meantime. Yes.
I love it. So last week, we did a draft of first overall picks throughout NBA history, not first players taken overall.
He's not letting this go.
I'm never going to let it go.
Okay.
No,
Find a new slant.
I'll never let go, Jack. I promise.
Come on that table with the float. What was it? A floating headboard or something? What was that?
I thought it was like a door.
Oh, was it a door? Maybe a door.
So
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Anyway, it was fun. It was a spirited event. And now, of course, we continue along with the only logical place to go from number one, which is number two. Andrew, do you want to explain the rules for anybody who may have missed it?
Well, if you missed it last week, we are conducting a 7-person draft, or 3 teams, I should say. We're going to draft a full roster of 7 players, a center, 2 forwards, 2 guards, and then 2 flex positions that cannot be the same. We're going to go in snake order with an order that we decide in just a few minutes. And the player pool is every player taken with the number 2 pick in the NBA draft. We have put the selection sheet in a chat, so that way we can specify who the number 2 picks available are. John, so territorial picks are not part of this. It is just the number 2 pick in the NBA draft throughout NBA history.
Thank you for that clarification. Also, positional designations, sticking with the same as last time.
Yes.
Okay.
While you were checking your phone, I went through that whole spiel, so everybody's aware. Don't worry.
I was reading a very new report that just came out today on August. Whatever.
In August. Yeah.
In August.
Sometime in August when this releases. Agreed. So some trivia about the number 2 pick in the NBA draft. There have been 16 Hall of Famers taken with the number 2 pick. There have been 10 MVPs. Can you guys name them?
You want to go alternating?
Now, here's the thing. 10 MVP awards have been won. There are players that have won multiple.
No.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant
has won 1. Correct. Jeremy.
Wes Unseld
has won 1. Correct.
Bill Russell has won 5.
That is 5. So now we're up to 7. Correct.
So we got 3 left, right?
Yes. Maybe someone's won 2.
Oh, okay. Jeremy, you want to go?
I'm trying to think if Isaiah Thomas ever won one.
No,
he was never even really in it.
So I'm going to say
great guess though.
I'm going to say Jerry West.
No, ironically, no.
Arguably the greatest player never to win an MVP. Arguably,
we counting finals MVPs? No.
For finals, he lost.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Pettit.
He won 2. So there's 1 player left. And if, Jeremy, if you don't know, I can tell you.
Is it Bob McAdoo?
Bob McAdoo. Well done. Those are the 5 MVPs that were 5 players to win MVP, and total up our 10 MVPs from the 2 pick. The teams to have the number 2 pick most, the Detroit Pistons have had the number 2 pick more than anybody else. They've had it 6 times. The Lakers have had it 5 times, 3 of which happened in back-to-back years, or 2 of which happened in back-to-back years.
It was Lonzo, Ingram, and
Lonzo and Ingram. So they went in order. They went Julius Randle, Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, and then got the 4th pick and traded it in the Anthony Davis trade.
Okay.
How they kept that pick is so frustrating.
Yes,
But
that's good old Lakers. The Chicago Bulls have had it twice. One in which they acquired from the New York Knicks in a trade. And the Philadelphia 76ers have had it 4 times. Excuse me. The Chicago Bulls have had it 4 times and the Sixers have had it 4 times. And then the big trivia for this one. Now, last week I asked how many number 1 overall picks have made the finals with the team that drafted them, but didn't win it. Now I'm going to ask you the 5, technically 6, and I'll explain the technically in a second. There are 6 players to win the NBA title. They were drafted 2nd overall with the team that drafted them. 1 has an asterisk on him, though, and I'll explain why if you guess it.
So 6 players, 5 or 6,
have won the NBA title with the team that drafted them.
Okay, so Jerry West.
That is 1.
Bob Pettit.
Well,
Bob Pettit is 2. Jeremy, you get a couple guesses now.
Sorry.
Bill Russell.
Bill
No, wait,
Russell.
sorry, I'm sorry. You're saying that did not.
They did. Bill Russell was drafted by St. Louis.
And then
So that's the specification we're going with. Is they were drafted by the team.
Is he the asterisk or no?
The asterisk.
Jason Kidd.
There, Jeremy got it. He was drafted by Dallas. Then
No
a
wonder
roundabout
later
way of a
Dallas. That's
career.
good.
Yeah.
And then in 2011 won it with Dallas. And now he coaches Dallas. Am I win?
Isaiah Thomas is another one.
There you
Ozil.
go. That's 4. So there's 2 more. And 1 is one you guys should get.
1 is one we should get.
Yes. Let me double check that I didn't get the team he was drafted with wrong.
Wes Unseld.
Yeah. Yes, Wes Unseld is correct. So there's 1 more.
But that's not the one that like we should get that you were saying very vociferously a moment ago that we should get.
Number 2 pick in 1965.
Oh, Bill Bradley. Yeah.
Bill Bradley won 2 titles with the Knicks. And then there's 1 more.
You said 5/6. We've named.
And I counted wrong. Because I missed Wes Unseld. So there's 1 more. It happened recently.
It happened recently.
Yes. You might have forgotten that James Wiseman was on the roster.
Oh my God.
2022.
Wait a minute.
Golden State Warriors.
Hold on.
What's up?
I think you might be missing one.
What am I missing?
Unless I have my years wrong, and I might have my years wrong, but I don't think I do.
Nope, you're correct.
Darko Milicic.
Mhm.
2004
good point. I did forget
NBA champion.
This is what happens when you sort by win shares and someone just like has none. So Darko is another one. So we're up to 7 now.
Yeah, that's
There
that's a good one.
That's a good trivia. If you guys want to, I've been doing trivia for the Mets live streams, Jeremy, and I've been testing them with Oz and his baseball brain. So.
And by the way, it was 3 Lakers in a row. We forgot about D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah,
it was 3-2. Wow, we're vacation brain. I apologize, folks.
It's okay. You've had a good week away.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Son.
Yes, bienvenido, ami. Indeed. Okay.
Oh wow!
Thank you, Pitbull. All right,
Kids, look at Willard Smith.
Willard Smith. Apology.
Is that his
accepted.
actual first name?
Yes, it is. Apology accepted. By the way, I can listen to your music again. Okay, John. Well, actually, why am I giving it over to you? Let's decide a draft order,
please.
If you would like. We did it in age from youngest to oldest last time. We'll do it from oldest to youngest this time. The way we do decide a draft order on the Knicks Film School podcast, for those who have not seen us do a draft in the past, is we do high card draw. I have a deck of cards in front of me. These 2 trust that I am not lying. I would probably have gotten better picks in the past if I was cheating my way to picks at this point, but let's see. Okay, John, with your pick is you have a 5. Okay. So let's see. Andrew, I always get to go in the middle.
First pick here, by the way, it's pretty.
You think it's clear?
Oh, I think it's clear.
Okay.
I was about to say I think it's a big advantage. I don't know if it's a big advantage. It is an advantage though, more so I think than the last draft.
Okay. Well, then we'll see if you get the first pick. My high card or my card is a 3. Great. Okay.
All right. So I just have to get at least above a 3.
Yeah, or at least above. I mean,
No,
there are plenty of
I'm
options.
saying at
for
least
you to
above
get.
a 3 in order for me to pick second.
Yeah, for at least
higher.
first or second. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, you want one of the top 2 picks?
Right. I just have to get past 3.
I would actually argue 3. The third pick might be better than the second pick. I don't know.
Well, I guess we'll find out. Jeremy, your card is a 6. Wow. 6, 5, and 3. So Jeremy gets the 1 pick in the second pick draft. Jeremy, by all means, you are on the board. Go ahead. John has a clarification. Go ahead.
No clarification. The irony here, like many teams have over the years, might Jeremy fuck up the number 1 pick and leave the best player to me at the number 2 overall pick?
Well,
we'll find out.
John, you can take Hashim to beat because I am taking Bill Russell first.
There we go.
Yes.
He's not fucking around.
Nope. That was pretty easy. Very easy. I mean, similarly to probably with LeBron. And when you took him last week, I don't think I probably need to explain why I picked Bill Russell. So I'm picking Bill Russell.
I'm putting him at center.
Yes.
Yeah.
The only correct pick.
12-time All-Star, 11-time NBA champion, 11-time All-NBA, 5-time MVP.
He has the Finals MVP award named after him.
That is correct.
Okay. I could make this. I could make this more complicated than it needs to be. I'm not going to because of positional depth. I'm going to go Kevin Durant.
Damn it! This is why I wanted the 2 pick. He's right. There's no forwards in this draft.
Well,
no forwards that I enjoy watching because I don't like watching basketball before a time.
You were the one doing all the black and white watching. Educational
purposes. I was watching it. All right,
man. If you'll let something, okay.
No, well, I'm not. I was hoping Kevin Durant would be available for me, but he is not.
He is not.
Third one about Kevin Durant. He's a top 12, 13 player ever, 2-time finals MVP, 2-time MVP, 10-time All NBA, 4-time scoring champ. Should pick better friends, but I think we're good on. This is a good pick. This would have been. I got to be honest, Jeremy, and this is probably sacrilege because of the positional depth. I was thinking if I got one of going Durant, thinking about it, I think I would have had to, like, it's sacrilegious to not take Bill Russell, obviously. I was thinking about it if I got one or putting it on my board because of the positional depth.
So if I could just interject, and I would argue that there is a greater gap between Bill Russell and the next best center than there is Kevin Durant and the next best forward. And I actually don't even think that's a debate. Yeah. I'm throwing that out there.
Because you okay. So then this makes my next 2 picks a little easier. I will go Bob Pettit with my next pick.
If you didn't take Bob Pettit, I was going to get pretty upset.
Okay, 19. Yeah. Shout out to the 1950.
Can we just? I'll let you do it because you picked them, but unless you want me to do it.
11-time All-Star, 2-time scoring champ, 11 times All NBA. Go ahead.
No,
John.
it's not just 11 times All NBA. How many first teams? 10.
Okay.
10 of them came before a man set foot on the moon.
Yeah.
MVP award again. It's not everything, but the man finished in the top 6. And let me just read off his MVP finishes. Starting in 1956, first, he won the MVP in his second year in the league, followed by second, fourth, first again, third, second, sixth, fourth. Bob Pettit is the most underrated superstar, whatever you want to say, in NBA history. I don't think it's close. He's a player that has been lost to time and is forgotten about when he should be mentioned every much as those other old timers. from the old days.
Average 20. Go ahead, Jeremy. Go ahead.
This is the most get off my lawn speech I've heard about basketball.
Averaged 26 and 16 for his career. I respect it. JFK saw 8 of his career seasons.
I was thinking of a way to get it in there.
Unfortunately, missed his last 2. I wonder what happened.
You know who averaged more career rebounds than Bob Pettit in NBA history?
Yeah.
Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell. That's it.
Back then they didn't teach shooting. Yeah. Oh man. Okay.
Man. The disrespect.
Yes, I'm disrespect.
He picked him.
Ray Marcano, if you're listening, you're welcome on behalf of John for defending that era of basketball. I believe the last year of Bob Pettit's career, there were 9 teams in the NBA. Yes, 9. Okay.
It doesn't matter. Bob Pettit, all-time great.
Of his era.
Top 25 player of all time.
Of his era, he was outstanding. Okay. We shout out to Bob Pettit and his family. I guess shout out to Bob Pettit's family if they're listening. Although he's still alive.
Yeah.
Think about it. No, I don't want to say posthumously.
Wait,
Bob Pettit's still alive.
Bob Pettit is still alive.
Yeah. Bob Pettit, come on the pod.
You're invited.
So, Bob, a pod is essentially the radio, but different.
Bob, a radio now is not just in the military. Okay. My next pick is Jerry West. There. John, you're welcome. I picked 2 dudes from the 60s and 50s for my first 2 picks.
Listen, you got 2 of the 25 greatest players ever.
I did. I'm not
it's a great job.
Disappointed in my picks. I'm just oh, great. You picked 2 guys from before John was born, which is, as we've gone over, tough to do.
Look, if you didn't pick either of them, I was going to pick them, and it was going to be not a difficult decision for me to pick either of those guys if you had left either of them on the board. Unfortunately, neither of them were on the board. Now making my decision more difficult. There is certainly talent on the board here. A lot of guard depth.
Can I ask you guys, while researching, did you notice that the number 2 pick wasn't as deep as you might have thought it was going to be?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's the same thing.
To me, it's always been the first or the third. The second is it's often thought of a great consolation prize, and it just historically it has not been.
Yeah. Like we mentioned, Darko, there's a lot of Sam Bowie's. There's unfortunately, there's some Len Biases in there. But yeah, I was kind of stunned how quick the tier ends in the number 2 pick.
Right. This is already a tough spot for me.
I have Bob Pettit's Wikipedia page up.
Yeah, I gotta go with my gut here. I gotta select the player who is, in my personal opinion, the only player left who has an argument for being. Does he have an argument for being one of the 25 greatest players of all time? He might.
Oh,
he might. I think. And that's Isaiah Thomas.
That was it. Yep. Good pick, John. There's other players that have accrued more value than him.
And that, actually, as you, Isaiah Thomas he's gonna it's like Kawhi Leonard. He's gonna finish his career with just not. I mean, he finished his career with low because the regular season didn't matter to Detroit for a decade.
First of all, this is a Knicks podcast, so Isaiah Thomas, once a Knick, always a Knick, or once a Knick general manager, always a Knick general manager. And this is where I will quote Bill Simmons' Book of Basketball, because on his chapter about Isaiah Thomas, he speaks about how his numbers will be lost to time because he sacrificed so much for the sake of the team, because he knew on a night when he could get 30, it was better for the team if he got 18 and 12. And it is why they went to the conference finals 6 straight years, to the finals 3 years in a row. And in an era where Jordan and Magic and Larry Bird dominated the NBA and took it to a global stage, there's this 2-year stretch where the bad boy Pistons ran the league. And, that is worth recognizing.
When Slam Magazine did their top 50, I think they actually did a top 75, but it was around the 50th anniversary of the league. I think whoever wrote up, I forget who wrote up his blurb, but I think the person who wrote it wrote maybe pound for pound the greatest basketball player of all time in terms of like how much talent was packed into his size, because he was 6 feet, 6'1". I had him as 28th when I did my top 75 ranking a year a year or so ago. So whatever. That's my guy.
Okay. Jeremy, you get 2 picks.
Yes, I do. The first one, he's listed at 2 different positions. I know I just picked a center, so I'm going to not have him also be a center, is Bob McAdoo.
Ooh, I was hoping he would fall.
Well, you're out of luck there, my friend. So yeah, Hall of Famer, no doubt.
So that's a center for you.
2-time. No, it's not. He played power forward as well. He's listed as power forward.
They're listing him as I think he's a center, unfortunately.
I gotta. Can we? All right.
I'm just saying
This is like the Tim Duncan is technically listed.
Bob
as a center,
McAdoo
but played power forward. Yeah.
Bob McAdoo's a center.
So I will say, to Jeremy's point, if you want to get technical, there are years on his basketball, because that would be always the tiebreaker for me. Mm-hmm. If you look at a year in his NBA career, and if it's like all the same position, then like regardless of what the positional listing is, it's that. There are several years where he's listed as a power forward in Detroit, in New Jersey, his rookie year in Buffalo. Also, 6'9", that's a power forward size.
I'll let it go, but just to any of the old heads listening to this, I just want to acknowledge, as you are yelling at your cloud from your lawn, I too am yelling at my cloud from my lawn. Bob McAdoo's a fucking center, but if you want to take him,
I'm yelling at my cloud, which is I have Bob McAdoo and you do not. You Bob McAdoo don't have him. But I Bob McAdoo. So there we go. The next one, this is the trickier part, because I'm going to take a guard. There are 2 phenomenal elite guards. I don't think you can go wrong with either of them.
No.
I'm really struggling between which one I want to take. But ultimately, I think
I would argue that the 2 you're picking, because I know who you're picking between. Same. I would argue that these 2 guys, in terms of trying to distinguish them in NBA history, in terms of who had the better career, because they played during the same era, their eras overlapped. It's a really tough call. It really is. And granted, I saw one of them play when I was pretty young, and I saw the other play when I was not so young, because his career lasts a little longer. But I think ultimately, I'm going to go with Gary Payton.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go with the glove. I don't know. I think maybe it's the Knicks DNA in me, the defensive perspective, just how dominant he was. I mean, the only defensive player of the year, not only, but he won defensive player of the year as a guard. No one had done it except for Marcus Smart this past year. Just the domination, just too much. So 9-time All NBA, 9-time All Defensive, NBA champ. Although that was a little bit more of a hollower, and it was at the end.
You could argue both the guys that we're talking about had similar paths to their championship.
You could argue that it was either Kidd or Chandler who was the second most important. Well, Marion was on that team too.
Jason Terry was on that team.
Kidd, but that was
Jason Terry was the second highest scorer.
Second highest scorer. Sure. I acknowledge that. There is an argument that Kidd was the second most important player on that team.
I would disagree with that argument. I think he was very fine in a role as the 4th best player on that team, which you could argue Gary Payton was the 4th or 5th best player on that Heat team. Especially that game
No,
3
he
when they
was
made
not.
when they made the comeback, it's because they went to a lineup with Gary Payton and Dwayne Wade and Udonis Haslem and Shaq off the floor, which is the best part about the narrative that Shaq went to Miami and won another. It was when Alonzo Mourning was playing.
You put narrative, Miami, and Shaq all in the same sentence.
As somebody who watched game 3, I know you watched it too, but who is the loser that goes back and rewatches these games. The way Miami came back in game 3 was with that lineup that they went to. It's literally like Steve Kerr going to David Lee in game 4 and more Andre Iguodala in game 4 as a starter, but going to that David Lee lineup and saying, go ahead, play Mozgov. We're going to go 5 out.
Good pick.
Yeah.
Gary Payton's very good.
Are you now taking the other guy?
If I do anything else, it's me getting cute.
He's my next pick if you don't take him. I'll just make it easy for you.
Well, if you're gonna do that, sure. I'll take Jason Kidd.
Yeah, he's best player available in my list, and I don't see another player.
There are a few times where I felt in the moment genuinely aggrieved for a player who did not win an MVP. This is one of those times. And I think this is probably first on the list because it's when the impact that he had on the Nets taking over from once Nick, always Nick, Stephon Marbury was, I mean, I don't know what else you say.
They were a lottery team and then they went to the finals. That's all you have to say. It's literally that simple. They were a lottery team and they went to the finals. I still remember
the Sports Illustrated. You remember Sports Illustrated used to come out with the NBA preview where they would preview 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way through 15th. And I think I'm not sure if they had the Nets making the playoffs. Maybe they had them 7th or 8th in the East. But
not to nitpick on their run to the finals, but this is the 2002 finals we're talking about. Yeah. This was also in an era where the Eastern Conference was still figuring out. There's this 3-year stretch between Jordan and LeBron where the Eastern Conference just didn't have a face to it. So Jason Kidd and his 52-win Nets could make a run to the finals. Allen Iverson and a bunch of role players can make a run to the finals. And it was the Los Angeles Lakers Invitational for 3 years. What team is going to the finals to lose to the Lakers? And Jason Kidd in that first round, you remember, against the Pacers, they almost lost in 5 games at home. Shout out Reggie Miller.
I do remember that.
Then the epic series against the Celtics when they blew a 21-point lead in the fourth quarter of game 3 and then won 3 straight to get to the finals and were promptly swept off the floor by the Lakers. Little history lesson.
Jason Kidd. Also, shout out to the Jason Kidd Phoenix era, which if you were there for it, it was fun times. There was some 4-guard lineups in there.
There's a hairdo in there too, where he bleached his hair, his fro, he grew out a Jerry curl to an extent. Yeah.
Phoenix was they were. I don't think they ever made it out of the first round. I could be wrong. I don't think they made it out of the first round during that era, but they were good. They were a good team, and Jason Kidd, really good career.
So now it gets difficult for me.
Because you can't pick any more white people?
No, I can't. I'm out. What do I do? Nah, I can't pick any more white people. The white people are off the board. Jason Kidd would have fit really well with my team, unfortunately. Damn. Would have. Okay. I have not yet taken a center, and Jeremy took 2. So I now have to recalibrate and think about who to go with.
Running the table.
I will take Wes Unseld with my next pick.
That's the right pick.
Thank you.
Correct pick.
Picked it myself. It's funny. I had a screw up the other day, Jeremy, when we were doing our power rankings of on Patreon, where John, in only the way John can, was defending certain teams because they're well coached. And when he got to Washington, I was like, respect for Scotty Brooks. And he's like, hasn't been the coach for 2 years. Like, oh,
no,
who is it?
1 year, I say. He wasn't the coach last year. Don't beat yourself up too much.
Regardless, not the coach anymore, Scotty Brooks. And he was like, Wes Unseld Jr. I was like, oh, his dad won an MVP. And that's where now I respect for Wes Unseld Jr. Wes Unseld won the MVP in what year? Why isn't this showing? 1969. That is the same year that the Bullets went to the finals. Am I mistaken?
No.
That's 69. The 79 Bullets went to the finals. They actually went back-to-back years in 78 and 79 and won it in 1978.
Yeah, Wes Unseld had just a really bizarre career in that he came out of the gate and won Rookie of the Year, MVP, and was named All-NBA first team in an era that had some pretty good centers. And then the rest of his career, he was solid. He was very solid. I mean, he was good. He was a very good player. You could argue he was a great player, but never in terms of the accolades and recognition. Mm-hmm. Never approached anything close to what he got his first year in the league.
So next up, I am going to fill up my other guard spot and go once a Knick, always a Knick. A guy selected to the 75, the NBA 75 team. It's funny. I know you don't. Actually, neither of you use Instagram. There's this little filter you can do where you like record yourself and it lists 5 players, random players from the NBA 75. That's like 4 times I've done it. Earl Monroe has come up, and it's almost destiny that he ends up on my team here. Earl the Pearl Monroe, 1973 NBA champ with the New York Knicks, won Rookie of the Year, N All NBA appearance, and a 4-time All-Star. Earl Monroe is my other guard spot.
Monroe is a guy. He's in my top 5 of guys I wish I could have seen play live because his stats and accolades and his resume does not say this is one of the 75 greatest players of all time, or at the time he was named in the top 50, one of the top 50 greatest players of all time. And yet, like Basketball Reference has their Hall of Fame probability index. I think Monroe was like somewhere like 10, 15%. It's very low. It's a very low percentage. And yet to anyone who ever saw him play, it's like, oh, it's Earl Monroe. He's one of the greatest players of all time. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that he took a backseat or not a backseat, but he sacrificed his individual game when he came to the Knicks. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Actually has like some pretty significant playoff games against the Knicks that in those late 60s, with Baltimore. Absolute
wars. Yeah. Absolute wars. I did a lot of research on that when I was doing the Knicks 75. There's
a conference finals that went 7 where he eliminated the Knicks. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a reason Clyde still taught it's funny that when Clyde won a championship with Monroe, and yet if you catch him on broadcasts, more often than not, he's talking about his battles against Monroe than playing with Monroe. That's what Clyde remembers. Okay. It's me.
Yeah. You're up. You have 2. You have a pick. Sorry.
I have 1 pick.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm thinking of last week when we did that draft.
So you got Pearl.
Mm-hmm.
So I only have 1 pick. Okay.
Earl the Pearl, the 1967 NBA draft first pick to the Baltimore Bullets at the time.
Yes.
Should update a bit. Jason Kidd is on John's team, 94, number 2 overall pick. I should say that. Earl the Pearl was number 2. Isaiah Thomas was the 1981 number 2 overall pick after Mark Aguirre, and Kevin Durant, 2007 first overall pick after Greg Oden.
Whew. There's a name. Okay. I'm going to go with the guy that I have as much respect for as any Knick opponent ever.
Oh, Wow.
You're lucky because I was just going to do a run on centers and you would be screwed. So
Listen,
how you have? Oh, you could only take one. You can only take one.
But he would have had his back against.
You would have.
when I tell my grandkids about growing up watching the 90s Knicks, the battle that I will tell them about first and foremost will be Patrick Ewing versus
Rick Smits.
Eligible.
He's eligible. No, Alonzo Mourning again played. I feel bad for Mourning because when if you're growing up in the 90s, there was an era where it was like very clearly the top four: Elijah Wan, Robinson, Ewing, Shaq, or whatever your order was, and then Mourning was number 5. And then you had like the Kemba Mutombo, and like Rick Smith was actually not that far behind, but like Mourning was like clearly that number 5 for a while. And then there was a brief period of time where Mourning got up there and he finished high in some MVP voting. And obviously he had success with Miami. And then his career was not derailed by injuries because he had a legitimate career, but it was not probably what it could have been had it not been for, I think it was a kidney issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he came back and he won a championship. So good for him being off the bench for that Heat team. And he still obviously works for Miami now. Obviously drafted by the Hornets 2nd overall. Fun young early 90s team. Him, Larry Johnson, and Muggsy Bogues. I'll take Alonzo Mourning.
Derek Coleman on that team too, or was Derek Coleman one of the trades?
Coleman. Okay. Ooh, who did? Now you're gonna.
Derek Coleman was a Hornet at one point.
He was a Hornet
on that team.
He was not.
He was drafted by the Nets, went to the Sixers, then went to the Hornets, and back to the Sixers.
Now you make me wonder who the hell Derek Coleman was traded for. Anyway, conversation for another day.
There you go. Jeremy, you have 2 picks.
So the first one I think is easy, and the second one becomes a real challenge.
First one's easy.
The first one, I'm going to double check that he was not drafted. He wasn't. Great. LaMarcus Aldridge.
Yeah.
Got numbers.
100%. And also
should have been
the old heads. He was a power forward well before he was a center in San Antonio.
He is a power forward. That he's 100% a power forward.
Yes, without a doubt. But yeah, no, should have been a Knick. It's a shame, but we're past that. We've moved on. It is what it is.
Actually, it's because of someone in John's team that he wasn't a Knick.
Oh, yeah.
That's why Isaiah Thomas. Yeah.
It was the Eddie Curry trade.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Eddie Curry, not a 2nd overall pick.
No.
Here it gets tricky because I'm looking at one name and it's the most Jekyll and Hyde career.
Jekyll and Hyde career.
Ooh. Now I'm curious. Yeah. Okay. I think I know where you're going.
It's a tale of 2 cities is all I'm saying. Just someone who is great and then not great. It's tough. That's it's the world we live in. So, but you know what? If we're looking strictly at what's available.
Oh, I know who you're looking at. I think I know.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Terry Cummings.
Oh, wow. That's not who I was saying.
Okay.
But okay.
So way more than 2 cities there.
Yeah. So, but here's the fascinating thing, right? Terry Cummings, and it had to have been due to injury. Just looking at this, from 1982, 83 to 1991, 92, Terry Cummings averaged 21.3 points per game, 8.7 rebounds per game, 2.4 assists, 1.3 steals. But again, it's harder for me because I was not alive for the majority of his career.
He put up numbers.
And then in 92, 93, that's when it was a steep drop. He never averaged more than 10 points per game, then 9.1 points per game in the later half of his career. But that first half was just very good. He was a 2-time All-Star, two-time All-NBA, Rookie of the Year in 82, All-Rookie team naturally as well. So, my back was kind of against the wall for some of these picks. It gets downhill fast. So Terry Cummings, step right up.
So That's a chalk pick. Hey, look, Terry Cummings played a long time, put up a lot of stats in that time. I'm not sure that he was ever quite the impact player as some of these guys left on the board. So now I'm in a tough spot because there was an obvious pick before. I respect Aldridge. I'm not sure I could co-sign Cummings. There is an obvious pick here, but it would be a luxury pick for me, and I need a forward. And there's a forward I really want very badly. I do not want to let him go because I don't like any of the other forward options, even though they are very respectable players in their own right. But I am not going to be left with any of them. And instead, I'm going to take Senator Bill Bradley.
Bill Bradley. Yeah. I don't hate the Terry Cummings pick, by the way. 11th in win shares and number 2 picks.
Whereas Bradley is 34th.
Yeah.
Again, you can't quantify what Bill Bradley did.
I'm just saying to quantify Terry Cummings, what he did. Someone had to lose in the first round in the East playoffs in the 80s.
True. Like the Clippers, which is just not fair. What happens?
I thought he played in Milwaukee.
Well, for the first 2 years of his career. Actually, that's probably why he was so good in the first 2 years of his career, because he got to play for a terrible Clippers team and then moved to Milwaukee.
Yeah, somebody had to lose in the playoffs.
Yeah. Also, once a Knick, always a Knick. Terry Cummings.
Terry Cummings, one of the first Knicks that I watched in the late '98 Knicks. Yeah,
I'm gonna. Well,
John has taken Bill Bradley.
Make your picks, and then before it comes back around to me, I'm going to give a little bit Bill Bradley stuff.
Oh, okay. Sounds like someone's pulling up their newsletter right up on Bill Bradley.
You know me too well.
Okay. Well, because I know you too well, I know that I probably can't leave this one guy that's played from entirely too long ago on the board for too long, or else you're going to take him. So I will start at guard and take Dave Bing.
Damn it.
Top 75
obvious
NBA 75th anniversary team. 3 times all NBA, Hall of Famer, scoring champ, rookie of the year, 7-time All-Star. Also, again, going back to my win shares, high odds, top 20 in win shares for the number 2 picks overall. Guy averaged for a little over 12 years in his career, 23-6. No, I did not see him play. He has not popped up in any of my research watching old games from the 60s and 70s, probably because he went to Detroit. And just like the Knicks, Detroit wasn't all that great until, the mid to late 80s. So I went with Dave Bing. My team would slaughter in the 1970s, 60s and 70s. No, actually just the 60s. Yeah, the late 60s into 70s. Regardless, my team is loaded if your TV doesn't have color. Okay, my next pick is going to be someone
that played basketball.
That played
National Basketball Association.
You're onto something, John. It's gonna be a center, and damn it, I need somebody from this generation. I need somebody that played for my team during an era that I defend. May have even won some hardware on said team. He is 10th all time in win shares for the number 2 overall pick, NBA champion and defensive player of the year with the Knicks, Tyson Chandler.
It's fair. You probably have someone from the 70s. And
literally,
beyond,
I swear, I stole John's cheat sheet.
So you're taking Tyson Chandler at center, backup center.
Backup center. So I have Wes Unseld at center and then Tyson Chandler backup center. So right now I just need a forward, which I'll get on my last pick.
Okay. That's fine. I'm reading over what I wrote about Bill Bradley. I don't have any great stat other than that he was a Rhodes Scholar.
Okay.
I thought that was pretty impressive.
Good job, Bill Bradley.
I'm sorry. Is that quantifiable for basketball?
How many What's a VORP for Rhodes Scholars?
Yeah, or being
does that
in the
add?
Senate.
Probably
We're going to count how many votes he
That would be a good stat if I could pull that up. Unfortunately, I can't. It probably was really good. Oh, take my word for it. Okay. I'm up next. I have my whole starting team.
Could have taken Sean Bradley.
I will not be taking Sean Bradley.
No.
I have my starting team. I feel really good about my starting team. I would have really, really liked it if Dave Bing was there for me. I don't think he is a top 75 player ever. I understand he was named to that. I think that's I don't know. It was not on my top 75 list. I'll just say that. This is tricky because there is no obvious name here left. I'm going to trust that the guy that I want, that I think is the best remaining pick, is going to be there with the next pick. I could be wrong on that, but I'm going to trust it. And I am going to take how many defense? I think he won one defensive player of the year. Yes, one. 4-time all defense. 4-time block champ.
Oh.
And once a Knick. Always a Knick, baby. Not once, but twice. Marcus Camby.
On my cheat sheet.
I have 2 Knicks from the 2012-13 team.
You do? And you balance it out with Alonzo Mourning, Kevin Durant, Isaiah Thomas.
I was about to say,
you have a very Knick team. The
guy who's supposed to be the Knicks savior, the guy who was the Knicks not foil, but like their main rival for many years, and then Isaiah Thomas speaks for himself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it only makes sense that the last player you'll take is Antonio McDyess.
That I was looking right at it, dude. I need John to take Antonio McDyess. Then he's got the most Knick team on this podcast. Jeremy, you've got 2 picks. Well, okay, so he has to take a forward. He has to take a forward. Never mind.
John, yeah. Guard and a flex.
Yep.
So for guard, I'm gonna keep it pretty simple here. I'm just gonna go Mike Bibby.
Not
Bibby. My preferred option necessarily, but
another Knick.
It's another Knick.
Jeremy,
really good point guard. Yes.
Can I tell you about how we talked about Mike Bibby in 2002? The guy went head to head with Kobe and Shaq while Chris Webber had a deer in the headlights look and like was doing everything he could to get the Kings to the finals. And we talked about him before Twitter, like at the lunch table was the pre-Twitter. Okay. It was the pre-group chat. Right. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't like fade away, throw your garbage in the garbage can and say Kobe. It was fade away and say Bibby. I swear there were recess basketball games where we were crossing people up and it was like Bibby to Iverson, like back and forth one-on-one. That's how much we talked about Mike Bibby for like 2 years. And then it went away.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah. R.I.P. 2002 Kings.
Yes.
So for my last pick,
sincerely the officials that were sincerely Tim Donaghy. Yeah.
Yeah. For my last pick, it's a flex, but I'm going to go with it's a forward. Hall of Famer.
Oh, I know who you're going with.
6-time All-Star, 2-time NBA champ, All-NBA during the JFK administration.
Oh,
Bailey Howell.
Yeah, Bailey Howell.
Take a page out of John's book. I actually thought you were going to take this player and that you thought that because we're looking again. Andrew has sorted this list by win shares.
This man,
and I'm surprised because Bailey Howell is 8th, which again, not an above and be all stat by any stretch, but we have picked before Howell. We picked every single player 1 through 17.
Mm-hmm.
So I was surprised that, especially John, that you didn't take him, just knowing how much you revere that era. And I thought for sure with a Hall of Famer that he would be.
I revered the greats from that era.
Excuse me. Bailey Howell is one of the greats from that era, according to
win shares.
No, stop it.
Why do you hate Bailey Howell?
Because he sucks.
Excuse you. He was one of the better second overall picks ever.
How dare you? How dare you, John?
Respect your generations that preceded, okay?
Gosh,
respect your
it's fine.
Did he take your lunch, John?
I'm not even going to respond to that.
It's your pick, John. You have.
It is. So
you have to take a forward.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do.
No, my team is Alonzo Mourning at center, Kevin Durant, Bill Bradley at forwards. Isaiah
you put
Thomas,
Bradley at forward. That's my fault. You put Bradley at forward. I had him at guard.
Yeah, and I have Camby. I can't take another center. That's all. So I have to take a guard or a forward because I could take a forward. Man, there are better resumes than the guy I'm about to take, but I gotta tell you, sometimes I gotta try to get the votes of the young people.
Oh, I know where you're going with this. I should have gone this direction too. Damn it! I should have scrolled down.
I thought about it, but it's like so early. Go ahead,
it
John,
really?
say it. Okay. Based on the criteria of
I should have done
voting body, maybe it isn't.
You could have your Bailey Howell. I'm taking John Morant.
John Morant.
I forgot John Morant was even a second overall pick. Yeah.
James Wiseman's still on the board for you, Andrew. Actually, no, he's not because you need to take a forward.
Yeah. So this works out as John's favorite Knick team because as much as he hates RJ Barrett, he can now have the guy that he wanted anyway with the. In fact, I'm going to leave on the Google Doc. I have it as 2019 John Morant NYK because it was what Bill Bradley's team used to be. I'll just for John's heart so he can look at it and be like, oh, John Morant's on the Knicks instead of, this guy RJ Barrett that I hate and secretly put Reddit threads out there about how much he's worse than Lou Dort.
Stop trying to taint the vote.
So, okay, since this is the last pick, this is where my process and what I'm going back and forth between. I did look at Brandon Ingram as an option. I think it's
reasonable.
I'm still considering Brandon Ingram as an option. This is the last pick anyway. I'm also looking at Antonio McDyess. He is 19th in win shares for the second overall pick.
There's an obvious pick here.
You
haven't named him.
And I haven't named him. I am not saying Rudy Tomjanovich.
It's the obvious pick.
John, I have everybody from the 1950s. I'm picking somebody that played when there was...
Rudy Tomjanovich played in the 70s.
I'm picking someone that played when we counted by 3. Okay.
And Rudy would have, if it had not been for Kermit Washington, great book, by the way. Anybody wants to read a great book? It's literally called The Punch because it's about the punch that, didn't actually end.
Tell the
Rudy's
story.
career.
What happened with Rudy Tomjanovich and the punch? For those who don't know,
but it was close.
It was a fight that broke out in a game between, it was the Lakers, I think, and the Rockets. And Kermit Washington, who was a player for the Lakers at that time, in the midst of a fight in which everybody was like all over everybody, turned around and just threw a punch without really realizing what he was doing. And it landed in such a way that it caved in Rudy Tomjanovich's face.
Mm-hmm.
And he nearly died. And he missed. I thought he played again after the punch. I know that. His career was never the same after that.
For those who remember the incident, if you want to call it an incident, the shove from Jokic to Markieff Morris. We all debated it for a day of whether it was a cheap shot or not, or whether it was a warranted retaliation. What people I don't think realize is Markieff Morris missed the rest of the season and is still dealing with whiplash and issues. It's similar situation where an altercation broke out. Back then you could actually throw a few punches in. It was as close to hockey as possible. And it affected Rudy Tomjanovich's career. I am not taking the head coach of the team that defeated Patrick Ewing in the finals.
Excuse me. I just want to say, not only did he play, he made an all-star team after the punch. So great job by him.
Great job by him. Okay. If you had coached a different team or at least defeated a different team in 1994, I'd be able to do it. But that's more of a place for really. You should have took Rudy Tomjanovich. You should have took Rick Smits. You should have had all the Knicks villains on your team, John.
Steve Francis, how's that for a Knicks villain?
There you go. He would have. Imagine him and Isaiah Thomas on the same team. Another name I was confused by. Marvin Williams is 20. I missed like a 15-year career from Marvin Williams.
Because he played a lot of games and played some decent minutes for a lot of good teams over the second half of his career. Marvin Williams is a really important role player.
He retired in 2020. I must have missed all of that.
When you're 6'10" and you can hit a 3-pointer, you're going to be employed for a long time in the NBA.
Yeah, I missed all of that apparently. So shout out to Marvin Williams for a pretty stellar career. Those I think are so Keith Van Horn, just worth mentioning, was
so many Knicks tie-ins.
Knicks tie-ins, yeah. There are a bunch. I think I am gonna end up with Brandon Ingram though, and I'll go there with my last pick. Bring some youth to the starting five.
I absolutely blew it with Bailey Howell.
With Bailey Howell over John Morant.
I should have scrolled down. I just wasn't thinking that. Oh yeah, there are some really good players who've been drafted second overall recently and have not. Because that's why I guess for me it's sorting by years versus by win shares, because that's how I'm just more accustomed to it. But lesson learned for the next round when John does not take RJ Barrett. It's RJ Barrett and Andrew or I takes him.
Oh, that's gonna be fun. Who ends up with RJ Barrett in the third pick draft? So who goes 3? Who goes number 1 overall in the third pick draft? I was waiting. I just wanted the face. That was the reaction I needed to see. Good job, guys.
All right.
So not drafted.
All the guys I said.
What's that?
All the guys I said. Well, D'Angelo Russell, another one. Lonzo Ball, another one.
Ray Felix played very, very long time ago, but had some good years with the Knicks. You mentioned Keith Van Horn. Emeka Okafor? Did anybody even mention Emeka Okafor's name?
Ran out of centers.
Yeah. Once a Knick, always a Knick. Michael Kidd Gilchrist. Notable NBA figure for other reasons, notably drafting the guy who would go first overall in the number 3 pick draft. Rod Thorne was once upon a time second overall pick. Once a Knick, always a Knick. Michael Beasley.
Yes. Hang on. Can we officially call Michael Kidd Gilchrist a Knick?
Because it was an exhibit 10, right? He never played
on the training camp roster.
Right. Yeah. He never played a single game that counts for the Knicks.
Derek Williams, another guy who was he was a Knick. He was a Knick.
He was.
Darko was a Knick.
Yeah, Darko was a Knick.
Yep.
It's amazing how many of these guys were Knicks.
I can never really shake, speaking of Derek Williams, was that he and Aaron Aflalo turned down those player options that they had. They could have, for what was then $5 million, $8 million, I think, respectively. Like, that's a decent amount of money back when the salary cap was like $65 million. And they said no. They wanted to bet on themselves. And they both, I think, did not win that bet.
Hold on, I just want to make sure.
Go ahead, John.
No, you go, Andrew.
I've already moved on to I was joking when I asked about the 3 pick. I've now pulled up the list of players drafted number 3, and the first one's obvious. After that is like,
Yeah, okay. No, that's why that
was going to be a fun one. That's going to be a fun one. Yeah, we have a whole week before we get to it.
We should come up with something, because whoever gets the first pick in that draft.
I actually don't think it, because then you have to wait 5 picks. Yes, you get it. Now, here's the other part. Wilt Chamberlain's technically the 3rd pick. So you have Michael and Wilt to choose from.
Is he technically the 3rd pick?
He is technically a 3rd pick in that draft. He is listed as the 3rd pick on Basketball Reference. So you have Michael and Wilt involved there. Technically, Michael is second in win shares.
You know that meme of the 3-headed dragon and 2 of them are super serious? And the 3rd one is like very silly. That's what it feels like.
The third one's
the person
James
gets
Harden.
The 3rd pick is
man,
not the worst, but also that's a steep drop.
I'm just gonna tell you this right now, and I'm gonna make a motion into the camera that if for the 3rd pick draft, if things happen, some relationships might end. Okay. Maybe by then we'll also be celebrating his return to the Knicks.
Man, this is going to be really unfair for whoever gets the third pick in the third pick draft. Ironically,
I actually think there's some creative drafting involved.
The two names that Andrew just said. I mean, you could do worse. Like,
all right.
I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying you want the third pick, but all things considered,
that's fair. I just want to give one more shout out.
And the two picks.
Yeah, it's for Marvin Barnes. Marvin Barnes did nothing in the NBA. But if you like reading, my personal favorite basketball book that I've ever read is a book called Loose Balls. It's an oral history of the ABA by Terry Pluto, in which Marvin Bad News Barnes is easily the star of that book. If it's August, if you have some time to kill away from the NBA and you're looking for a good read, go do yourself a favor, order Loose Balls by Terry Pluto, and you'll understand why I'm giving Marvin Barnes a shout out here. That's all.
Okay. All right. So this will post, obviously, you're hearing this on a Monday morning. Tomorrow, as we did with the first pick draft, we will post a poll on Twitter. You vote and tell us who won the second pick draft. Jeremy, go ahead and read off your team.
Sure. If I can
start with Terry Cummings.
There it is. Bill Russell at center.
Yeah.
Bob McAdoo and LaMarcus Aldridge at forward. Gary Payton and Mike Bibby at the guard spots. Terry Cummings at the flex and Brandon Ingram. Haley Howell at the other flex.
John.
Do you realize 5 Duke guys have been taken second overall, including 3 in a 5-year span? Bagley, Parker, Jabari Parker. Nobody said Jabari Parker and Brandon Ingram. Anyway, okay. My team: center, Alonzo Mourning; forwards, Kevin Durant and Bill Bradley; guards, Isaiah Thomas of the Detroit Pistons, Jason Kidd, and then off the bench, Marcus Camby and Ja Morant.
Okay, let's go on a time machine and look at my team. At center, Wes Unseld. At forward, Bob Pettit and Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram, imagine sitting at this table. He's just like sitting there with his Game Boy while the rest of
listen, man, he should be fucking honored.
Yes, honored that he has to wheel them all one at a time to their cars afterwards. All right, Jerry West and Earl Monroe at the guard, and Dave Bing and Tyson Chandler. I mean, no disrespect. I'm being a butthead on the pod. These are some of the all-time greats. And you tell us how great you think these teams are by voting in the polls on who won the second pick draft. What's up, John?
I'm literally just going to say, you should win this.
I'm looking at your team and...
Well, let's not influence the vote.
Let's not influence the vote. Let's not influence the vote.
Sorry, one last shout. Did we shout out Kenny Anderson?
Oh, no, we didn't. That's a bad job by us.
Especially in light of this whole the New York City Point Guards documentary thing that's going on right now.
A week ago
it went on, John.
Yeah,
that went on recently. Yes.
Yeah, recently.
Man, I'm still looking at these names: Stromile, Swift, Len Bias.
Yeah, Len Bias. That's one of my favorite 30 for 30. Well, not favorites, a difficult word. It's one of the better 30 for 30s.
And did we say the name Sam Bowie on this episode?
I did.
Oh, you did say
about how the 2 picks that have, a history.
I missed that one. Okay. Good job, gentlemen. Everybody out there, thank you for listening to another episode of the Knicks Film School Podcast. We will, of course, be back with another one of these bad boys next week. Hope you enjoyed the first 2. Don't forget, vote. Your vote counts. Look out on Twitter for that. And until next week, we will talk to you soon. Peace out.